Alrighty, I'm here again with a stream for the Halloween event on Danny's World. I apologize that I was not here for a stream yesterday like I said I would be. Something came up Friday night, and I was not home for pretty much the entirety of Saturday. I am here now, though, and I'm very obviously streaming. I did, like I said, end up playing a bit Saturday without streaming. I was simply too late to get the stream going and then get things uploaded and whatnot, so I just figured I'd just play on my own. I've been very much enjoying the Halloween event. I love pretty much everything about it, to be honest. I did realize I was wrong about a few things that I was talking about last time I streamed. Like I put in the description for the videos on TikTok, I mentioned that at first I thought I was wrong about the stats on Sylvester and Gordy. Sylvester actually has 1-star stamina and 1-star movement, whereas Gordy has 1-star stamina, 1-star stealth. But he does have 2 5-stars, which I originally said, you know, Quell wouldn't give us, but, well, here we are. We do, in fact, have characters with 2 5-star stats. Combined with Gordy's 4-star movement, that does, in fact, mean he is the best extractor in the entirety of Dandy's World. And due to the 4-star movement and 1-star stealth, he actually makes a really good distractor as well. Though the 1-star stamina can be a bit of an issue, though you can always counteract that with, say, one of your trinkets be, like, say, dog plush, and then you can run a stamina increasing item or just some sort of stamina regen trinket for your second trinket. So I would think you could always just do Speedy Shoes Dog Plush as your 2 trinkets on them. That way you can have enough walk speed to distract just about everything. I think at that point the only thing you might have issues with is Pebble. But it is a pretty solid option. Taking a closer look at Eclipse and whatnot, I have come to the same conclusion that tons of other people have, which is that she is an amazing blackout distractor, which kind of makes her just a really good distractor in general, because she already has 5-star movement, so she's just good for distracting, despite the reduced, not having as low stealth as some of the others. Well, you can always counter that with Flight's trinket, the diary. Is it notebook? I think diaries flutters. Flights is the scrapbook. So you can always equip the scrapbook to lower her stealth, get a bit of easy, and then during blackouts you become a significantly better distractor with you glow, you gain 2 stars to your stamina, and you gain a 20% movement speed increase. Sylvester is just straight, Sylvester, sorry, he is just straight a extractor. 5 stars in, I think he has 5 stars in both extraction and skill check. And that's why he has the double 1-star as well. But his movement speed being 1 means he's a little slow getting around. And unlike Connie, who's also 1-star, he doesn't have access to an invisibility. His ability just gives him an extra heart, which is pretty decent, but it does mean that you're going to have to be a little more careful in how you move around the map with him. And then Rebecca is your standard sort of like starter tune of the event. She's got 3 stats and everything, and then her passive makes her immune to all status effects, which is pretty decent. I would not recommend it to new players, simply because not being affected by these status effects, well, it does seem like a good thing. At the same time, not being affected by them means you don't know what they do, you don't learn them. She could be a very good option for if you're just looking to learn. Like if you simply just want to learn the game and not have to worry about the status effect right away, she's great. You can pick her up, just completely ignore all of them and just learn to play the game. And then once you've learned, you can swap to a different character and start learning the status effects. And then, of course, there is always the simple option of just play the character because you like the character. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know there's been a few people who go around and they'll say you should only play these characters and whatnot, and I don't really agree with that. Like, especially the people who do pro runs and then say you can't bring Poppy or Boxton. I don't really like that, simply because say, for example, when I was working on Boxton's last mastery, I technically couldn't join any pro runs because they were saying, you know, no Boxton, even though I'm not a starter. I'm on a starter toon, but I've played the game enough that I'm more than capable of pulling my weight and staying alive as long as everybody else. I do understand the point of wanting to get only people who are good at the game, and usually they say no starters because that's usually the people new players are playing, is those starters. But at the same time, I've just never really been fond of people in games saying you're not allowed to join because you're playing this character. I've definitely had it happen a few times to myself. I'll pick a class or a character in a game that I really like and enjoy playing, and people will not let me join like endgame content with it, saying stuff like, oh, it's, you know, this character isn't the best, it's mid-tier at best, you're not allowed into this endgame content. It's like, on one hand I can understand that, but on the other hand, most of the times with that low-tier character, I end up outperforming tons of people playing high-tier characters consistently. I think it is an interesting conundrum. I think it is kind of like a per person basis rather than just, because like I said, obviously if you're doing a pro run, you don't want new people, but at the same time, if I'm not new and I'm very good at the game and I just want to play those two, I think it should be fine. I should be allowed. I was seeing some stuff, a lot of things people were saying. Someone was saying the Halloween toons weren't good, and I kind of feel like that was rage baiting, simply because I don't really see how anyone could look at the Halloween characters and think they're bad. They quite honestly have some of the best stats in the entire game. Like, Gordy alone is like one of the perfect characters. Not so much, obviously, like his stealth can be a hindrance if you're trying to extract, because if you get anywhere near the distractor, you're just going to steal all the twisted. But if you're playing him as a distractor, he's great, and if you're playing him solo, stealth doesn't really matter too much. It matters a little bit, but not as much. I'm sure some people were a little disappointed in his ability. Like, his passive is rather nice. A speed boost at the start of a floor, and when panic time starts, is pretty good. It's going to help people get to the machines, help the distractor get to the twisted so that they can start distracting them, and it's going to help people get back to the elevator once the panic time starts. And it's also got the side benefit of it's going to help out your distractor a little bit on panic time, because I feel like a lot of people forget that during panic time, the twisted get a little bit faster. So, like, I've seen distractors not prepare for that. Panic time starts, and they're just still doing their regular loop, and then they get hit because they're not expecting the sudden increase in speed. But I think the issue people have is his active ability, which his active ability is essentially just Toodles. He gives everyone around him a 35% increase to a random stat. To be fair though, when I was playing Toodles, all I could think of was, yeah, her ability is random chance, but it's really good. It's a super short cooldown, and more often than not, as long as you're lucky, you get a stat boost to what you need. Like, I was doing her masteries for Pebble, and the entire time, like, every time I got to Machine, I'd hit her ability, and almost always I got the extraction speed boost or the skill check speed boost. So I think a lot of the times, her ability is kind of weighted to give you something that would help you with what you're doing. So like if you're on a machine, you're more likely to get the stat boosts that increase your machine stats, or you're more and if you're not on a machine, you're more likely to get stuff like movement speed and stamina regen. So him having that ability is pretty good, and him being able to apply it AoE is also pretty good. Because that means if you're looking for a machine and you see someone working on one, you can just hit your ability as you pass by, and there's a good chance you'll give them extraction or skill check buff and help them complete the machine. I can understand people thinking Sylvester might be a little bad, simply because I've noticed people really don't like low movement speed tunes. Like, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of the tunes I see people play are tunes that have high movement speed. I very rarely see people play low movement speed tunes. And I can kind of understand that. Playing the lower movement speed tunes is dangerous. But at the same time, there are ways to counteract that. Like, I run on Roger, I run the Speedy Shoes and the Pink Bow. That allows me to outrun, not fully outrun, because like say Twisted Pebbles, when he's chasing me, he is slowly gaining on me, but it allows me to have enough speed that I can not just immediately get run over by him, and I can get away and avoid getting hit. I know some people have told me that I should swap out my Speedy Shoes for a trinket that, I think someone mentioned Clown Horde, like stuff that just increases run speed. But in the case of Clown Horn, that one I believe is only active on like every other floor, and I don't run a lot, as I'm sure people who've watched the stream notice. I walk pretty much over the entire floor. The only time I sprint is when I'm being chased or when I'm running back after the panic time starts. That's just a personal quirk, honestly. Like, I don't really expect other people to play like that, but the way I play, increasing my walking speed is more useful to me than just increasing my run speed. And that's another thing I should mention. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about people saying you can't play with us because you're playing this character. It's kind of the same thing where it's like, you can't play with us because I don't like your trinkets. And there is a difference there. Like, if someone's running, there are certain trinkets that just don't really make sense to be running, because they're either just like negative for your character or they just don't really provide a benefit. Like, let's be real, the purse trinkets to start with extra tapes, not exactly the most useful. It's fine on, say, like Tegan and Sprout to get enough as one of your trinkets to get enough to have a heal. Like, that's fine. But like running them on other tunes doesn't really make too much sense. But on the other hand, in cases like mine, like if someone were to try and tell me I'm not allowed to join their run because they don't like the fact that on Roger I run speedy shoes, that's dumb. That doesn't make any sense. Even if you don't think it's the best possible trinket, it is still a useful trinket for me. It is still helping me. So I shouldn't be barred from your run because of that. Now, I don't think anyone would do that. I don't think anyone would take a look at my speedy shoes and say, no, you're not allowed to do the run with us. But I just meant more in, like, terms of, like, other trinkets. Like, hard thinking of an example right now, but, like, if it's a trinket that still benefits the toon, but isn't, like, the best trinket for them, that's fine. Like, as long as they're still getting some benefit from the trinket, they're most likely running that trinket because that's what they want to run. They're, like, it's something they like having. Like, when I play Astro, I'm always very tempted to run speedy shoes and then the light bulb. Which I'm sure everyone would look at me and be like, why are you doing that? Why are you running the light bulb? It makes no sense. He already glows. And I'm like, yeah. But I wear pretty strong glasses. And combine that with the darkness of a blackout, there are plenty of times I get hit because I just can't see. I mentioned this in my last stream. It counts as a double blindness for me, and it makes it really difficult. And I don't want to be that guy and turn up the brightness of my monitor. That feels like cheating. So I like sometimes running the light bulb, the spare bulb on Astro, because that increases his light radius to a point where I can actually see really well. But it's stuff like that, where, like, if I'm running a trinket because of personal preference and it's not a trinket that's considered the best for that toon, it really isn't fair to try and exclude someone from a run because of that. Now, mind you, if you see someone someone playing Shrimpo and running Brick and Coal, probably first check to see if they're just doing a challenge, and if they are, I think it's fine to let them in. But if they just honestly think those are good trinkets for Shrimpo, I could understand not letting him in your run. If it's a normal run, I'd say, who cares, just let him in, he'll die and you'll move on your way. But if it's like a pro run, I can understand being like, nope, sorry, we don't want you in here. Though, to be fair, you'd probably say that more because he's trying to join a pro run as Shrimpo rather than, you know, his trinkets. Though, in the same time, I would argue Shrimpo is probably still a good toon to allow people to play in a pro run, simply because he is the challenge toon. So if someone is trying to join a professional run with the challenge toon, that means they're trying to get really, really good at the game. And to be fair, I've seen quite a lot of TikToks and other stuff of people playing Shrimpo in public lobbies, and they're the last one standing, because they just don't understand how to play their toon. Like I said, it becomes sort of a weird situation in where you draw the line in allowing someone into your run or not. Fine with allowing anyone into my run, like no matter who they're playing. Like if they want to play a not great toon with not great trinkets, that's fine. They'll die at whenever they die, and we'll just move on. Though to be fair, as I have mentioned before, I am almost exclusively a solo player. Mostly because of my introverted nature. I don't really like playing with other people. I like just playing on my own. There is some times I will play with other people, but most of the time you can find me here, completely alone, doing my thing. And I guess while I'm on the topic of things I don't like. I guess one of the other things I will mention is I've seen a lot of, I guess, discourse over the subject of highest floor. Someone asked me once, and I told them my highest floor was about 25. And I've seen a lot of people point out it's like, oh, it should be, you know, should only talk about your highest floor if it's much higher. It should be like 50 or whatever. And I feel like that's a little unfair, simply because these people that are getting to floor 50 are doing so with a team of, like, with proper roles, like a distractor, a healer, and whatnot. And that's fine. But I'm getting to floor 20 completely solo, which, yes, it's a lower floor, but it is significantly harder doing it solo compared to having a distractor and a healer. Because I've been part of runs that have a distractor and healer, and they are significantly easier. You go through the floors much faster, and as long as your distractor knows what they're doing, no one gets hit. In the case of solo, though, because I've got no distractor, I have to be very careful with how I move. Like, you can see me hiding behind things when Twisted getting near. I have to be watching constantly, which can somewhat mess with me on skill checks. And in the case of getting hit, I have to wait until I find a healing item or a healing card. I can't just go to the healer and be like, hey, can you heal me, please? So I get issues where, I think it was, I didn't stream it, but last night when I was playing, I had that issue. I had a bad floor, I burned through my healing items, and then I ended up getting hit an additional 2 times. So for 2 floors, I was on 1 heart because there just wasn't any healing items that I was getting. And I wasn't getting the healing cards to show up. So I feel like people should not judge someone as much based on their highest floors, simply because, like I said, yes, your highest floor is 30 higher than mine, but you did so in a group, whereas I did so alone. So technically the amount of effort put in is equal. Of course you showed up, Sylvester, right as I activate my skill check, Andy. And he's gonna go right back to that machine, isn't he? No, he's going for that one. Perfect. I've learned a few things more about the Halloween Twisted, and some of them are depressing, some of them are super interesting. My last stream, I didn't run into Eclipse at all. I did run into her quite a few times yesterday. I ended up actually getting to 70% research on her. But one of the things I noticed was that she howls when she sees you. And at first, I didn't realize what that was doing. I thought it was just a really interesting thing she did, like to try and spook you. But then I realized pretty quickly that it does actually have an effect. She is actually alerting nearby Twisted, and they come running to that location, and then if they see you, they all start chasing you. Not that that really happens, because to be honest, once Eclipse sees you and howls, you just start booking it. But it can really suck if, like you just evaded one Twisted who's walking away, and then Eclipse sees you, because she's going to howl, and that Twisted that was just walking away from you is now suddenly going to turn around and gun right for you. One of the more depressing things I learned about Sylvester here is I originally thought he was guarding the machines, but someone pointed out it doesn't actually look like he's guarding, because he doesn't face away from them. He stares at the machine itself, kind of, which someone pointed out meant his sister Connie haunts machines, so it's very likely that he's looking for his sister, which is really sad. And one of the other sad things I had, not really a revelation, more just something I encountered, I got Gordy a few times. I think I did 2 runs total where I got to floor 20, and I got Gordy a few times before floor 20. But one of the times I let his bar run out so that I could get the research, his voice line was "Mom, Dad, help," which was really sad. Like, I already knew from the Halloween event room that he was trying very hard to remember his parents and couldn't. But to have him yell out like that for them the moment he started, like, turning twisted, it felt really... It made me feel really sad for him. Let's try our luck with the line. Gumballs, okay. Not really anything useful. Oh, hi, Goob. Who's your friend? It's gotta be one of the Halloween tunes, but I'm hoping it's Eclipse. So I was right about Rebecca's trinket when you unlock her research, which it highlights pumpkins every now and then. The event currency trinket. Oh, it's Sylvester. Which is what I figured. Sylvester's was a really interesting trinket. Sylvester's trinket is the Soul Sword, which is whenever you get hit, it applies the slowed debuff to that twisted for a short duration, but it doesn't stack. I thought that was pretty cool. And it would be something that helps a lot, because a lot of the problems you can have is if you get hit, you don't always get away from them fast enough before they start chasing you again, especially if you're low on stamina. But with the slow debuff, that becomes less of an issue, because you slow them so they don't chase after you quite as fast. You have an opportunity to get around a corner or regen enough stamina to get away. A little scared there. Skill check popped up right as Goob started turning towards me. I haven't finished Eclipse and Gordy, so I haven't figured out what their trinkets are. I'm hoping by the end of this run I'll have both of them. Probably not on Gordy, because I need to run into him 3 times, and I doubt I'm going to get that. I might get him twice, that would be really nice, but I don't think I'm going to see him 3 times. Honestly, one of the things I really like about Twisted Sylvester is his chase time. He chases you for a really long time, and it's not really frustrating though, because they combined it with his slow speed, so it becomes more of like a threatening thing. You got to get away, rather than it just feels like you can't get away. Because there honestly has been a few times where, like, say, Pebble, and depending on how quickly you can get to something that allows you to loop him, you can just be... Oh, there's a machine right there. You can just be running... Feels like running forever, and you just can't get away from him. Especially on a tune like Roger, who's not exactly the fastest. The downside of having Sylvester and 3 machines near each other is that means he's going to be constantly on them. I did learn something about the treadmill machines last night. The amount of times you have to hit the button to finish the skill check is based on your skill check, but if you have like an increased skill check thing, I think does increase the amount that pops up, though it really doesn't feel like it. But if you use a stopwatch, which normally increases the size of the skill check, it actually reduces the amount of times you have to hit the skill check. Like here on Roger, I have to hit it 6 times. I used a stopwatch, and it said I only had to hit it 5 times. So I'm assuming for people with lower skill checks that have to, smaller skill checks that have to hit it more, it would be more effective. Like it would probably knock off more than 1. But it is a really cool thing that it affects it in that way. Because I just kind of assumed it would be one of those ones that has no effect because, well, the treadmill doesn't exactly have a size on its skill check. Which way are you going? You're going that way. Perfect. It does make me wonder. I don't think there is going to be an interaction, but I think it'd be really cool if there's an interaction where if you got Sylvester and Connie on the same floor, if he happens to go to a machine that she's in, she'll kind of like pop her head out and they'll have like a little interaction between the two of them. I don't think that's a thing, but I think it would be a really cool little touch to add. That's Rebecca. One of the things that has been nice because of how much more likely we are to get the Halloween tunes during this event, it's kind of prevented a lot of more dangerous Twisted from popping up. Like, I'm sure I'm about to jinx this, but I have not gotten Glisten this entire time. I've done like 6 or 7 runs and not seen Glisten even once. And I'm a little happy about that. Glisten is something I can do. Like, I can manage him just fine on a solo run, but it really slows the floor down and makes it more difficult. Simply because I have to stick with him, wait till he gets near a machine, do the machine, and then go sprinting in the direction I saw him leave to try and find him. And sometimes he just doesn't want to go to machines. I've had quite a few times where he's been nice, I did the first 2 machines, and then he'll just stick on that side of the map where the completed machines are, and he won't go over to the other side where the uncompleted ones are. So I end up having to be on that floor for like another 10 minutes until he decides he wants to go over there. And unfortunately, playing the lower speed tunes, or even just the lower extraction speed tunes, you can't always run to the other side of the map, find a machine, do it, and then get back before his bar fills all the way up. Because to be honest, it actually fills fairly quickly. I think a good example for Roger is a good example is Roger. If I do a machine, I think I can do 2 machines that are near each other and then get to him, and his bar will be almost full from 0. And Roger doesn't exactly complete machines slow. He's only got a 3-star skill check, but he does have a 4-star in extraction speed. And I don't run extraction speed trinkets on him, obviously, because I believe I need the speed for more survivability. Which is another thing I've had. I did have someone recommending I drop the speedy shoes for an extraction trinket to help floors go faster. And I can understand that, but I'm not super concerned with taking... Like, the difference is the machines take, like, 5 less seconds to complete, or maybe, like, 10 less seconds. I'm not super concerned with that. In my opinion, having the extra survivability the speedy shoes gives me is way better than completing a machine 10 seconds faster. Especially simply because I don't fully trust the pink bow to be enough to get me away from most of the faster Twisted on its own. Like, especially in the case of Pebble, there have been times where running the speedy shoes and the pink bow, I feel like I just barely get away from Twisted Pebble. And it's like, and you want me to get slower? I don't really feel like that's gonna work. And obviously there is always the answer of, we'll just play a little smarter, be a little more sneaky. But at the same time, there are plenty of times where even if you're doing your best to be sneaky, you're going to get spotted. Like, I think I've only ever had a single floor where Pebble didn't spot me, and I always try my best on maps with him to not let him spot me. Like I said, it's simply like expecting to go the entire floor solo without him seeing you. It's just, it's not really something that happens. It can happen, it's just unlikely. I do like that Gordy talks to us. I think it's pretty cool to have more Twisted that say things. And not kind of say things like how Twisted Sprout will sort of growl out Cosmo's name, but more like an actual, like, Glisten, words pop up at the bottom, talks. Now, I do know that is because, like Glisten, he's non-hostile and has a bar that fills up, so it's more of a way to let you know rather than just a thing he does. But at the same time, I do think it would be interesting to have a Twisted that just kind of talks to you throughout the whole thing. Be pretty interesting to walk around the map and then you see the words "I see you" pop up and suddenly you're being chased. This is definitely going to be an instance where after I get the research done and I get Gordy, I'm just going to play as him for pretty much the rest of the Halloween event. So I guess that technically means I lied to you about which tune I'm going to do next for mastery. I guess that technically means I'll be working on Gordy's mastery. Though honestly, I haven't taken a look. I do imagine one of his masteries is going to be to finish a certain amount of rounds with a Toodles. Simply because she's the other child, so I imagine the two of them play a lot. Heck, even in the picture for the Halloween update, it literally shows, rather than, there is one for Dandy and Gordy as the logo, but like for the actual like picture that Quill put up, it's Toodles and Gordy. So like clearly they know each other, they play together, being the only kids around. So I imagine his mastery is going to involve playing a few rounds with a Toodles. Which I feel like could be a little difficult, but at the same time not. Like, it's not difficult, because as soon as you get a Toodles in the round, you just gotta play, but I don't see many people playing Toodles very often. And I think that's mostly because they did get a bit of a bad reputation as stealing all the heals. And I know for a lot of them that was rightly deserved. Like, they were doing that, and I've seen it, admittedly have seen it a few times. I have seen, like, played with the Toodles and seen them just sprint forward, grab the heals, and then run off, and it's like, okay. But I feel like because of that, people don't really play Toodles anymore, because if they do, everyone just immediately assumes they're someone who's just gonna steal all the heals. Come on, Louie, you didn't see me. I mostly play this game on a computer, but I did have one time where I played it on the PlayStation. And I gotta say, the blackouts on the PlayStation are significantly darker than on PC. And I do know that could just very well be a difference in brightness settings for the TV and my monitor, but at the same time, I don't really mess with my monitor's brightness. It's default, and I don't think the TV had any messing with it. It was mostly default, so they should have been pretty similar, but it was just so much darker on the TV. I think it was Astro's floor that really made the difference. Normally, I could see, like, if the doorway was that corner there, and I was this far, I could see the doorway still on PC. On the TV, I could see maybe like 4 or 5 feet in front of me. Why are you like this, Cosmo? Why do you show up as soon as I use my skill check item? Went the wrong way to hide. Definitely was gonna see me. I know there's a lot of people that have been saying that Dial's floor is one of the best floors to do right now, and they are correct, because you get pumpkins for every machine you do, and with Dial's floor there's 25, so you can get a lot of pumpkins out of that. But honestly, I'm just trying to get the research done. Dial's floor does take a long time, and as I've never had anything other than common twisted spawn on that floor, So I don't think Eclipse or Gordy could possibly spawn on the floor, and they're the two I'm looking for. Knew she was gonna come this way. I was about to say I don't know where Tisha got to, but there she is. Yeah, I figured he was gonna see me. It kind of in a way feels nice to be back on Roger. When I first unlocked him and started using him to get all the research, he was very obviously the toon that I played the most. So I got very familiar with him and how he works, and just used to his stats. So going back to him, it's comforting in a way because I know how the character works, I know how to play him. Not saying I don't enjoy other characters, and it's certainly nicer to be on characters like V or whatnot who finish machines much faster, but it is nice to have the familiarity of a toon I know this well. see Rebecca. Oh, is that Gigi? I think that's Gigi. It sure is. Okay. Been getting more and more runs where I go like 10 plus floors without getting a healing item. It's kind of weird. Gigi has more or less stayed away from me, which is good. Not that I really have anything I don't want her taking. Like, if she takes the box of chocolates, oh no, it's not the end of the world. It's not like she got a heal or anything. Especially since I'm not really one to use items like the box of chocolate and whatnot. Like, they're nice to have, but most of the time, I don't need them. It's weird how there's a kind of like an invisible wall right there. I'm trying to figure it out, and I don't think things like run speed candy and chocolate bars affect the speed of the treadmill machine. Simply because I had one where I used a box of chocolate on it, and it didn't really look like it was going any faster than when the box of chocolate ran out. Like, it looked like it was going the exact same speed. And I thought maybe that was because I used the box of chocolate while I was already on it. Like maybe it only uses your speed before you get on it. So I tried it again. I got another box of chocolate. I used it before I stepped on. And it was still kind of like the same speed. So I think the treadmills don't use temporary increases to your speed like the items. I think it just uses your base stats. And obviously stuff like trinkets. Like I'm sure if I knocked off my 2 speed trinkets here, it would be slightly slower on the extraction. I don't get them very often, but I really do like the freebie floors. Oh, well, speak of the devil. So, these are my 2 twisted this floor, which means I don't actually have to worry. So long as I'm not sprinting, Razzle can't hurt me, especially when I'm, not his circle. Then I can sprint all I like. And as long as I just make sure I don't touch a machine Connie's in, she can't hurt me. So this is essentially a freebie. I can just walk around and do whatever I like without having to worry about getting hit. I don't get these floors very often, but I do really enjoy them because it's a very relaxed floor. Like I don't even have to watch. I can just stare at the machine to see when it'll be done. And because I don't have to worry about getting hit by a twisted, I can just sprint around and use up all my stamina without worrying. My favorite is when you get Razzle and Dazzle in a tiny little corner where there's no machines, and then Roger. Because then once you figure out which capsule Roger is, you can just do whatever you want. Absolutely zero issue. Whereas like with this floor, I do kind of still have to watch for Connie. Though Connie is pretty easy to figure out. There is obviously when she's in a machine, it'll flicker every now and then. The light will flicker blue. But also, whenever she's in a machine, the treadmill machines, this trick doesn't work for because it doesn't really show. But for these machines, the valve is in an upside down Y. When Connie's in the machine, it flips and is a right side up Y. So for those, you can just take a peek at the valve and see whether she's in it. With these, your only real option is to just wait and see if it flickers. I thought at first maybe, like, if she was in it, the treadmills would be running. But then I noticed that the treadmills are running whether she's in them or not. So when there's treadmill machines, your only option is to wait a few seconds to see if it flickers and then she's in it. I'm so used to my trick of only using half my stamina on the treadmill machines that I totally forgot, like I said, I can just use all my stamina because there's no threat on this floor. having a freebie floor like this with 2 non-hostile twisted is a really good if you get like a blackout, because that way it's like, great, you blew one of your blackouts on a floor where there's no threat, so you don't have to worry about it being dark. Well, not that that matters too much, because it's not like you get only a certain amount of blackouts. And I kind of get the feeling, it could just be my luck, but I do kind of get the feeling that for this Halloween event, blackouts are more common, so that people get a chance to see Eclipse in a blackout. Because I really do feel like Twisted gets a benefit, is different in a blackout, similar to how Cole is different in a blackout. Because that's her ability on her toon forms. 12 floors and no heals. So that's Rebecca. Don't know who the other one is, and I'm going to be a little careful just in case it's... Oh, it's Yada. Okay. A little worried it might be Goobs or Scrap, but we're good. Goob or Scraps, not Goobs or Scrap. That is not correct. I talked earlier about Toodles getting a bad reputation. I feel like some people might disagree with me for this, but I also feel like Yadas have a bad reputation. For 2 reasons, really. The first is that a lot of people who play Yada will then act like she's the absolute best toon to ever be added to the game, and that everyone should play her. I've had quite a few instances where someone mentioned they liked a specific toon because that was their favorite toon, and someone immediately said that he should play Yada because Yada has better stats, and it's like, well, he already said he's not playing the character for the stats, he's playing the character because that's the character he likes to play. The other thing is that when you're playing with a Yada, so many times you will be working on a machine and they'll run up and badger you to give them the machine. And it's like, yeah, I get it, you want to use your passive, but people want to finish their machine so that they can get the Ichor for it, and that so they can also get credit towards their masteries. So it's a little unfair them to be constantly going up and asking, like, badgering people to give them their machines and then getting upset when they don't. It just... So for those reasons, I'm not too keen on playing with a Yada. I understand that people disagree and that not every Yada is going to be like that. but a majority of the ones that I have encountered are like that, so it has put kind of a bad look for them. But that goes back to the same things as I was saying about Toodles. Yeah, some of them are, in fact, people who run around, they take all the healing items and whatnot, but there's also quite a few of them who don't. So I'm not saying every single Yata is a machine-stealing jerk that demands you play Yata, but quite a few of them are. And again, I apologize if that offends anyone. It's not my intention to offend people. I'm just simply giving an observation. This is something I have seen. Now it's back here. Okay. And I mean, it's also kind of like a per basis thing too. Like, I've actually seen people, a lot of people believe that Astromains are just like massive jerks. I haven't seen any of that myself, and as an Astromain myself, I don't think I'm a jerk. I do my best to work with people and use my ability to help out, but it's not specifically certain. It's kind of like every toon. Every toon, people think there's people who are jerks and there's people who aren't. And I think that's less of a thing tied to the toon, and it's more just a human thing. Humans come in all shapes and sizes, all kinds of personalities. Some you're going to get are absolute jerks that you don't want anything to do with. Some of them are the nicest people on the planet, and then you get everything in between. So my point about Yata mains, I'm not saying it's people who play Yata that are like that. It's just that the people that are like that tend to play that character. So once again, I apologize if I offended anyone with that thought, but that is just kind of my observation. Honestly, one of the biggest ones I've seen are people who play Goob. Because you obviously get those people who do just grief with Goob, who'll use his ability to try and get people hit. But I've also seen a different kind, where people will play Goob, and then rather than pull anyone, they'll only pull like one or two specific people. So like, even if the other person's going to get hit and Goob could save them, they just won't use their ability. I actually had this once. We all finished the floor, we got to the elevator, there was two people coming from more or less the same direction. One of them was about to be hit. Oh, sorry, no, it was only one person coming from that direction. They were about to get hit. Goob just kind of sat there and watched. Person got hit, got into the elevator, and then a little bit later, someone else was coming along. Wasn't really in any danger or anything, was just running towards the elevator, and Goob pulled that person. And everyone was kind of like, Goob, why didn't you use your pull on, you know, the person who got hit and prevent them from getting hit? And he just never said anything. And I noticed throughout the other floors, he only ever pulled that one person, the one he'd pulled before. Like, he would not use his ability on anyone else. So it's kind of an interesting thing, because at the same time you could argue that is griefing, because he's only using it on one ability, or one person. But then at the same time, wouldn't that mean that not using your ability at all is considered griefing? Which I suppose in that case it'd be a case by case, like if they just weren't using their ability, whatever, but if like they were actually like refusing to use their ability to help people who they could stop from getting hit, that would be griefing. It's one of those things where the line can get pretty blurry on where it should go. But people who will use R&D to try and get people hit, like, well, they'll run as soon as someone tries to cross them. You're just a jerk, and you need to stop that. You're going to get reported, you're going to get banned, and no one is going to feel sad for you. Like, that's something I don't understand. Like, do people really have nothing better to do than to come into this game and grief people? Like, if you don't find this game enjoyable and that's how you have fun playing this game, just go play a different game. Then again, if I understood griefers, I'd be one, because that's the only way you can understand those people. I should also point out, my thoughts on these types of players and just players in general, like, it's not something I fully believe I'm right on. It's just something that I've noticed over time. And like I said, I'm mostly a solo player, so it's not like I've seen everyone who plays that tune. So it could just be that I happen to be running into the small group of people who do play like that, and it's given me a bad perception of them. Which is why I mentioned, like, again, sorry if I offended anyone with that thought. It was not something I was intending to do. It was simply just an observation. Man, Finn really wants a bite of my ankles. So I do notice there have been people who have been liking and favoriting my videos, and I do appreciate that. I'm glad that some people are enjoying them. I know they can be a little long, but I just wasn't really sure which parts to include or exclude in my videos, so I just figured it'd be better to just leave it as is. But it is nice to know that people do actually enjoy watching my stuff. Pretty much why I'm doing it. Just figured I'd do it as a side thing, throw up some videos, that way if people want something they can watch in the background and just watch to see if this is something they might enjoy, they can do so. Someone did mention they found my voice relaxing, and I thank you for that, and I appreciate that. I wasn't entirely sure if people would want to listen to me yap during these. It is good to know people don't hate my voice, at least. It's always a tense little moment when you get to a new floor and you're not sure who's on the floor. Have to be careful and kind of creep around for that first little bit until you either see them or get the capsules. Because you don't want it to be, like Goobs or Scrap when you're caught with your pants down. Rebecca, Poppy, and Flutter. Okay, that's pretty good. Flutter can be a bit of an issue, but not too bad. That had to be a treadmill in here. Hopefully I can get this done pretty quick. Be a bad spot to get cornered in. Although maybe I've got enough room here to juke. Okay, perfect. We got in and out without anyone coming to peek. Nope, stop guarding the Band-Aid, Poppy. That can be something that can be a little frustrating playing the game, is that sometimes it seems like the Twisted are just straight up like guarding a machine or an item. Like there was a video I did a while back where it was one of the smaller floors, like one of the ones you get before floor like 7, and I got Twisted Pebble and he just sat there at the entrance to the room I was in and just would not let me leave. So it can be a little frustrating. It's like, because it really does feel like that Twisted is just guarding the area. Which, like I've mentioned before, is part of the problem I have with Twisted Louie, is that sometimes he really will just go back and forth over a small area, camping a machine. And he's not the only Twisted that'll do that. I've had other Twisted do that. V, in particular, once there was a time where she kept coming back to one machine over a short period of time, and it really did felt like she just knew I was there. Come on, Flutter. I was like half a second from being done that. And can you stop chasing me? literally 0.2 of a second more and I would have finished that machine. If she wasn't as fast as she was, I would have just popped on back onto it and finished it, but I don't want any of these. But like with how fast Flutter is, if I had done that, if I'd popped back on that machine, I would have got hit. Floor 15, no Gordy. Let's see, Sylvester Louis Boxton. I know I only need to see Gordy 3 times, so 3 runs to floor 20 will do it, but I was kind of hoping to see him before floor 20, so that way I could get his research and just be done with less runs. Because I really do want to play as him. It was a little easier last night, I know, because last night he was on the Twisted board, which I didn't actually take a look at the board when I went by today, so I actually have no idea who's on it right now. I would imagine it's either it started with Sylvester, then it was Gordy. It might be Eclipse right now. I don't think it'll ever be Rebecca, simply because actually no, it can't be, because the Twisted board can't have common Twisted on it, and Rebecca's a common. But at the same time, I don't remember if Quell limits it to the event tunes for the first week or so, or like the first few days, or if it can just be anyone, but the first day is like the first day or two is like the event tunes. I'm doing pretty good on the event currency. Like, as I'm sure some of you have noticed, when I pick up the pumpkins or do the machines, I've got like over 3,000. When I hit 3.3, I did buy Rebecca, and then I'm going to save up and buy the others when I've got enough. I just want to make sure I have at least 3,000 at all times, so that way when I finish Gordy, I can buy him. Because while I do enjoy and want all of the holiday tunes, Gordy is the one I want the most. I'd say Eclipse is a pretty good second place for who I want. Again, not saying I dislike Sylvester or Rebecca. Just out of the 4 of them, Gordy is my favorite, with Eclipse being a second. And then probably Sylvester, and then Rebecca. Again, like all of them, it's just I like the others more. I am still very torn on the Shelly skin. I'm going to get it. I just don't know if I'm going to use it over the Dino Snore skin, because I really like both. I was admittedly a little surprised, because I was seeing on TikTok there was a lot of people talking about a lot of bugs that they were encountering with the event. Like, people were saying there was glitches with Gordy where he was just standing there and not doing anything, but I was playing right after the event came out at the same time as them, and I never ran into those. I don't know if that was just like my luck on not running into the bugs, or if it was just like the bugs are like a really small chance. one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my box of chocolates, grab those jumper cables, and use them on that machine there. Just because that is a small area that machine is in, I would like to get it done quick and out of the way. That, and as I've been mentioning a few times, I don't really need the escape items like the box of chocolates and whatnot. Not always. There have obviously been a few times where having it would help, but a lot of the time simply being cautious and not, and like waiting until everyone's gone before moving can help a lot. Which I think is part of the reason Dial is the way he is because I think Quell was a little disappointed that people were relying so much on distractors rather than simply playing the game. I guess that's a bad way to put it. Like, people were using distractors, which I don't think there's anything wrong with using distractors, but relying them on too much does seem a little... It's hard to know how to put it. Like, the way I'm playing it now, solo, hiding, and whatnot, I think that was the intended way to play that Quell had. So people pretty much playing exclusively with distractors kind of killed that. I don't think Quell has anything against distractors. Like, she's totally fine with people playing the way they want to play. But I think it was like people were using distractors and then complaining that the game was too easy, and that's what probably bothered Quell. That's like, well, you're playing a way that makes the game super easy, so of course the game's going to be easy. So Quell made a tune that can't be distracted. He can. People have distracted. I've seen the videos of using like Coco and all those chocolate boxes and whatnot. But generally, without tricks like that, Dial can't be distracted. Not to mention that trick only works for a limited time, because as soon as you run out of the boxes of chocolate or the cocoa things, suddenly you can't really do your distracting anymore. First blackout, way up on floor 16. Oh, Astro's on this floor. Astro and two others. I really hope it's not Goobs or Scraps. I hear you, sleepy boy. But where? Okay, so Astro and Tegan. Oop, there's Astro. Shrimpo. Okay, that's not a problem at all. Of course. I'm usually pretty lucky with the gumballs. I usually get the extraction speed, sometimes the skill check, but can't be lucky all the time. Still hear Astro's footsteps. That must mean he's sticking pretty close to this area. Yep, there he is. Now, I suppose I should be honest and say I didn't technically avoid all of the bugs. I didn't have any, like people were saying, where like they got Gordy stuck in place and couldn't get research. But I did have one with a treadmill and Sylvester where he would go to the edge of the treadmill, kind of walk in place, or I guess float in place for a moment, trying to like run on it, I guess, and then he would go leave the treadmill, walk a few steps, and then turn around and just repeatedly try and walk on the treadmill again. He just did that for a while before eventually giving up and walking off elsewhere, which I don't think is intended. I don't think he's supposed to do that. It was kind of funny to watch on the machine I was doing, but it did kind of mean he was also stuck on a completed machine and I didn't have to worry about him at all. Definitely once I get my research done and I am just going for event currency to unlock stuff, then I will definitely be doing the dial floors, especially because at that point I will have Gordy, and I'm gonna be honest, he with the right trinkets is going to absolutely crush machines. Okay, Tegan, come on, go away. It can always be a little concerning getting spotted in the darkness and not knowing which direction you were spotted from. There have been times where I've been hit because I think it's coming from one direction, so I run the other, and of course the direction I ran is the direction I was spotted from, so I get hit. So I've learned a good way to avoid that is to look towards the direction you need to run. And that way, if you get spotted, you can run in that direction, and if it's the direction you've been spotted from, well, at least you can see them. So 17, 18, and 19. So 3 floors before hitting 20. I'm hoping I can get Gordy at least once in that time. Not on this floor. So we've got Rebecca, Louie, Brightney. I'm surprised I didn't get a blackout with her trying that, with her being here. And Cosmo. Okay, that's an easy floor. Five machines right in the middle of the floor. Of course. Well, right in the middle, but pretty close to the middle. Places where you can be spotted, especially with people like Louie. Brusha would be the worst for this, simply because she spots you from so very far away. Getting her on a floor like this, where most of the machines are out in the open, you'd be constantly getting kicked off the machines by her. And I could not even imagine doing this with a pebble. It would be such a pain. I want that gumball. Use it because I see it. I want a Brightney coming. Oh, and Louie. I've talked about this before, and it's something that confuses me, but also I find a little bit funny. I've seen a lot of times where people will advertise for a run and then just like everyone's dead by floor 10. It is even funnier when the run they're all advertising is a long run. I've joined a few for a long run when I was trying to do certain masteries, and having it be like, oh, long run, everyone's gonna get to like floor 20 plus, and then everyone's dead by floor 10. It's like, okay, I thought we were going farther than this. Now, I'm sure that's not the norm. I'm sure it's just I keep happening. The few times I joined, I just happened to get people who weren't super good. Cautious on using my gumball right away, because I feel like someone's gonna spot me again. Hey, skill check, there we go. What I'd really like to see is, because the gumball doesn't just give you skill check chance, it also gives you skill check size multiplier. I would love to see using a gumball, like on a 5-star, getting the skill check gumball and then using 2 stopwatches. I would love to see just how big that skill check gets. Maybe running trinkets too, like if there's any trinkets that increase skill checks. Yeah, there is, the thinking cap, and I think there's one more. So like use the 2 trinkets that increase your skill check size on a 5-star skill check, getting the skill check gumball, and then 2 stopwatches. Like, would your skill check be like half the bar? I imagine for a treadmill, would that mean like you only have to hit the button like once or twice to finish it? It'd be a pretty cool thing to test, and I think someone should totally test it. So I only need to find one more machine. And there it is right there. Okay, so all of the machines were in this one little strip. So I'm going to do this one, and then before I finish the last two, I'm going to go take a peek, just in case there is a heal on this floor. I know I'm getting close to floor 20 where I plan to end it, but I want to at least make sure if there's a heal here, I grab it, so that way it's easier for me to get to floor 20. Thank you, Rebecca, for not kicking me off the machine. Okay, so let's take a peek over here, see if that and getting these are nice too. Because as I mentioned before on a previous stream, I'm still working on getting all of these skins and stickers. I have all the characters and trinkets, so getting as much Ichor as possible, even if it's only 2 per capsule, I find, it still helps. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any kind of heal or anything, so I'll just go finish up those last 2 machines and we will move on. The skin kind of bothered me at first because Roger's in a t-shirt, meaning I could see his elbows and his forearms, and I'm not used to that because his normal skin, he's just wearing a suit that covers up to his wrists. So it was kind of weird seeing his elbows. It'd be nice if Roger was one of the ones who got the optimization. I don't think he's going to, simply because if you look, his feet do kind of bend more properly, but at the same time, I do feel like his animations could use a slight change. I'm not really fond of the way he walks with his arms crossed. I guess it's because my thought it should be more detective-like, so he's like, and to me, he should have his arms in his pockets. Alrighty. Ooh, hi, Pebble. Okay, yep, you saw me. Wasn't sure if you'd have a line of vision through there, but... Okay, so Pebble is one of 4. Oh, Eclipse. Perfect. That is... I only need to get 3 sites with her. Brush up, Poppy. Oh, dear. Okay, so we'll have to be very careful of that. She's going to alert Pebble every time, I feel. But the other 2, Poppy and Brush, aren't an issue, so... I'll have to keep an eye out for Pebble and make sure that Eclipse doesn't see me whenever Pebble's nearby. It's alright though. I can do this. Just gotta take things slow. Gonna start with this machine because it's right in the middle and it's a treadmill, so it's going to take a bit. And it is near an island that I can run around. You're gonna turn this way, aren't you? Yep. Honestly, this is not too bad a map to get Pebble on. There is a few spots where there are fairly open sight lines, but there are plenty of things that I can hide behind and around to get away from him. I'm not too keen on using my stamina here, simply because with Pebble being on the map, I would like to have as much stamina available to me as possible. Ooh, I almost walked right into her. Brusha keeps trying to get me because she kept just seeing me and then going the opposite way Pebble was, so I had to pick between them and spot it again. Okay, Poppy. You do not get to join this game. We are not playing this game. Case in point, almost used up all of my stamina there, so being close to half from having run on that treadmill would not have worked out. I don't know where Pebble went. Don't know how she didn't see me, but I'm not gonna question it. Let's get some speed candy, just in case I need to be a little faster getting away from Pebble. Oh, speaking of, there he is. Yeah, Brusha, go away. Now, Brusha has the same line of sight, or close to the same line of sight that Pebble does. Thankfully, she has a much shorter attention span, so I can... As long as I break line of sight fast enough, she'll leave me alone. God, I hope he's not coming over here. Yeah, it's okay. You can see me, Poppy. You're not Pebble. Okay, the last four are over here. This one's not bad. That one might slightly be an issue. Go away, Brusha. No, of course, you're going to keep coming this way. And she just immediately turns around. One of the things I'm worried about is I wasn't paying a lot of attention. I don't know if I got both of Eclipse's research capsules. So I think I'm going to have to be a little risky and wander into this back room here. I think I did, simply because I grabbed them as a like without even thinking about it, so I probably just grabbed it and didn't see it, and I don't see any. Oh dear. Okay, time for the bottle of pop. That was a little more dangerous than I would have liked. I did not realize he was so close, or I would not have let Eclipse see me. Okay, where did he... Surprises me sometimes just how fast he is. Obviously when he's chasing, I get that speed, but sometimes his just walking speed after he's not chasing can be much faster than I expect. Okay, I'm gonna wait until he goes back in before touching that machine. Thankfully, Pebble was too far away to hear her that time. Let's try and get this one done as quickly as possible. The other two back here are in a fairly decent spot. It was just that one that I wasn't really liking the spot of. This one here and that one there. Okay. Hi, Pebble. Okay, that wasn't gonna... Oh, he's gonna hit me, isn't he? Okay, that was significantly closer than I would have liked. Probably should have ran back this way towards Brusha, so that way Pebble didn't see me, but what's done is done. That's gonna be a hit. Got stuck on the thing there. I don't like that his footsteps have been made quieter, simply because, like, in situations like that where I did not realize he was coming this way until he was, like, already on top. Now Poppy's gonna come over here and kick me off this machine. Give Pebble one more opportunity to come bite me. Over a total of 18 floors, I have found a single heal and used a single heal. I have gotten a heal card a few times, but didn't need it. Hopefully this next floor is not bad. Okay, so Flutter is one of the 4. I saw Brusha over there. At least I'm pretty sure it was Brusha. Yep. Shrimpo. And Roger. Okay, so I only have to deal with 3, and the only bad one, or semi-bad one, is Flutter. I should wait till Flutter leaves. I was hoping to get Gordy at least once more before floor 20, but it looks like I'll only be getting him on floor 20. Maybe I'll get lucky and Eclipse will also be there, so that way I can get the second of the 3 researches on her I need. I don't think I'll be playing the, like last time, playing the event more after the stream, simply because I have kind of done a lot for it already in a short time, and I really that was Roger. Yep. That's what I get for yapping and not paying attention. But, I've done a lot in a short time, and I still have an entire month to do, so I think for the purpose of that, I will slow down a bit and stick to just playing when I stream. The issue there was, like I said, I was talking and not really paying attention as much, but it was also, like, there was another research, like, directly on top of him, and that can make it hard to see. I think I'm just gonna go to that side. What sucks too is it was an open area, so there was not really anywhere I could quickly duck behind to block his line of sight. And with the slow debuff, I was unfortunately too slow to actually be able to get away from him in time. Well, it is okay. I will simply be careful moving here on out. Hopefully we can get to the next floor without getting hit. I'm not going to use the jumper cables on this one because this one's not too bad a spot, and there is one over there that, not that one, but one behind it that is in a slightly worse spot that I might just use the jumper cables on. Okay, Flutter. Being your usual self. Like I said, she's not super bad. She's not pebble speed, so you can outrun her, especially if you have the movement trinkets like I do. The issue is just that her thing is that she doesn't stop. She keeps flying. She keeps moving. So the likelihood of running into her increases, because the other toons, they'll go to a location, they'll stop for a bit, they'll figure out where they want to move next and move. Whereas Flutter will just keep sort of flying around, moving between locations without stopping. Realized after I almost started running that was the direction I'd been seen from, so it'd be bad to keep going that direction. Okay, yeah, so I know where all the machines are now, and I definitely want to use my double jumper cables on the one in here. It's not a terrible spot. It's a long sight range down the middle, so if I get spotted, I can hide back here. But it is just safer to get it done. I know some people will always say machines that are out in the open, like say that one there, are the more dangerous ones. But I actually find them not that bad, simply because, yes, you can be spotted from farther away, but you have significantly more room to run around and avoid the twisted, whereas with one like that, if a twisted came up and spotted me, 9 times out of 10 they're too close for me to get away from. So for me, how much room you get is much more of a factor on which machines are good and which machines should be done as quick as possible. Like this one's not bad, because I can quickly run over to those boxes to get to break line of sight and whatnot. And I have plenty of floor space so that if I do get spotted, I have the room to juke and just generally avoid the twisted coming at me. Look how far that sight range is. It is wild. There she is. Knew it was Flutter. Like, Pebble, it makes sense, because he's a dog, and he's very tall, so him being able to see from really far away makes a lot of sense. Brush's thing is that she's an artist, which I get that they have an eye for detail, and can, you know, see smaller details than most people, but even still, it is just wild to me that she can see it from that far. Thankfully, she gives up really easily. Survive floor 20. I'm just nice to be healed so that way I can survive a little bit longer while I'm getting all the research capsules. I've noticed while I'm just running around for the research capsules, I am running into the Twisted a lot more, and sometimes I'm a little more reckless with my stamina. Mostly because I want to get them all before Gordy gets his bar ends and he starts moving around. Especially because I've noticed that Gordy in his Twisted form is faster than Twisted Pebble. Like you saw before when Pebble was chasing me on that last floor when he hit me, he was slowly gaining on me. I had one floor where due to a couple other Twisted just being jerks about it, I was not able to keep Gordy happy before he got angry. And there was the one time I tried to run from him, and he caught up to me so very quickly. Like he is faster than he is faster than Twisted Pebble. Which is interesting because, like, Pebble's so fast because he's got a 5-star movement speed, so his twist makes sense that his Twisted does. Gordy's movement speed is only 4-star, yet he matches and beats Pebble. Like, to me, that is wild. It does make sense, though, because Pebble only has 2 legs, whereas Gordy has 6. That is certainly going to help you in moving fast. There we go. So that's both Gordy research capsules. I think I've got both pumpkins. Just gonna take a quick peek. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got both pumpkins. So now I'm just going to sit here and wait for Gordy to turn Twisted, let him hit me and kill me, because that'll get me the research and end the run. Because I technically could go further and try and get him on higher floors, but I find it is easier just to reset and do another 20-floor run. So it is technically Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to anyone who's here or anyone who is watching the video on the same day. I'm imagining a lot of people are spending the time with their family, which is totally fine. You should, honestly. But if you're like me and either, your family doesn't have a Thanksgiving event going off, or if you just don't really go to your family's Thanksgiving event, that's fine. I hope you enjoy the day. At least we have various pumpkin-flavored desserts for us. But I thanked to everyone who is watching, will watch in the future. As I mentioned, I do put these up as videos. I will be playing again tomorrow. I don't think anything's going to come. I will actually be streaming this time. But thank you very much, and you have yourselves a wonderful day.